Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Midday News. Also on Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi, affiliates across Ghana, including Kekeli Radio in Ho, Sky FM in Takrady, and A1 Radio in Bolgatanga. Also, you can download the
We can't borrow anymore. We've borrowed to the hilt. So what we have to do, we have to look at the revenue side of the equation. And that's why we're looking at compliance.
We can't borrow on their finances and increase their hardship.
Not to fool.
Meanwhile, government risks a shutdown as the minority in parliament contemplates rejection.
Because there is fiscal cliff looming, even if it requires that.
Also in this package, the controversy over textbooks set to contain bigoted content rages.
Officials. When we send the book, NACAP also gave us a pending approval notice, and they have given us specific areas to be worked with, and that we are working on.
We'll hear from the publishers as Parliament is Western Regional Capital, Takrady.
This is a symbol to show the tradition of the Ahantes, especially that.
We'll hear from Legon City's head coach Bashir Hayford on why striker Asamoah Gyan has been missing in action.
And later in the bulletin, news with me, Emefa Apau. Thanks for your company. This government to Ghanaians as it introduces new taxes, which some have rejected, insisting it will impact negatively on their finances and increase their hatch petroleum products. Here's a report which captures what you are to expect in the coming days.
Government is, for instance, playing fuel, and this should result in the price of petroleum products going up by some 5.7%. The development would definitely road tolls. All this could definitely make a strong case for commercial drivers pushing for an increase in transport fares from NESCO, National Health Insurance Levy, and 0.5% increase in the VAT flat rate scheme. This would increase VAT from 18.12% going up since as a consumption tax. Commercial banks will also absorb or pay 5% of their profit before some services being offered by these banks go up. The betting industry may also not be left out of the expected levies and taxes that could be all sectors of the economy and could be impacting everyone.
That's a news desk report on what to expect.
Because not to fool.
Going to take a real toll on their operations. But this gentleman is here and he seems really incensed about the introductions that we've seen. Budget will be a new year for me. I say to the chato abane de yesrena boni aya ne de yesreno ofa e boni nche no so onhwe bi na ye bre but essentially the tolls that they pay do not translate into the betterment, or if you like, the improvement of the quality of roads on which they drive.
Taxes. He spoke on the probe on the Joy News channel last night.
What people don't say is that the fuel levies we've proposed will increase in that sphere. You realize that, in fact, fuel prices went down by almost 7 or 8%. We've been paying more for fuel in the past, and so the sentiment was that if there was any time where you could put a levy low or lower than pre-COVID levels, depending on where crude prices are going, and if we waited, it's only a 5.7 increase at the pump. And I think the biggest people who bear the brunt of that tax are the people with...
Okay. Charles Dubois is the President's representative at the Finance Ministry. Meanwhile, the road Ghana, John Affo, we're grateful for your time here on the Midday News. So before we even start constructing more roads,
Thank you very much, Emifa, and good afternoon to your listeners. The funds are allocated, but they are not released for payment to contractors. So that is where our worry, so that it will create problems for the contractors.
Now, since that has been cleared, are going to be reviewed as well. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, we are very happy to hear about the amount of money available at the road fund. They expect that that from the fuel levy enable them pay the contractors when they work. But about that because of the COVID-19 that came about last year. But we just hoping to allocate funds for the road sector as they have promised. And I think everything will be fine.
We're grateful that secure funds before initiating new projects, including the roads.
For a Wedding Act, we need to do more. There are many ministers who initiate projects even when there is no budget. Projects should commence unless it is supported by infrastructure projects. It's understandable. And Mr. Speaker, is a Rwandan example. So you don't find a project in Mr. Speaker, you may want to encourage them to do a steady orbit. Even though the PFL is the same strength in the handling.
As the minority leader, Haruna Idrisu will stay a while long, the budget could have far-reaching consequences for the country, including a possible government shutdown if the parliamentary MPs to reject the new taxes announced by government in the budget. Ranking member on the Finance Committee of Parliament, Dr. Atuforsing.
This isn't the time to impose taxes and to increase the hardships of the people.
So will you be
because
voting
against taxes, then it means the whole budget needs to be changed, and it will require that a new budget be submitted to the floor because it will change. It will be the impact on the state if the budget is rejected. And remember that we do have a vote on account outside of Parliament. We'll have to meet and look at the pros and cons of doing that. But I can assure you, some of Ghana needed reliefs more than anything else.
Dr. Atuforsing there is ranking member on the Finance Committee of Parliament. Now joining us in the revised Ijapa agreement, Charles Edubuahing explains.
Yes, there was a concern about the royalties that were accrued to the independent directors of the board in the company located in Jersey that then rules to the board composition. There was also something about a stabilization clause. There was also So we've listened to the people. We have made some amendments to the documentation. And as the president has instructed, we'll go back to the AG. The AG is supposed to review the transaction, and they feel like it addresses all their concerns. We will then go back to Parliament, most likely, for their blessing.
Charles Edubuahing, President's representative to the Finance Ministry, speaking on Ijapa. This is the midday news. Over how 3 books set to contain bigoted content and distorted history got onto the market. The national identity that reads, "People say I am inward looking, but that is what they think. I am very good, especially to my people." To a parent who has a copy of the book insisting students cannot read such material.
They are very offensive and very divisive. You portray a group of people in the books, at least police the production or police the content so that chaff does not, they have a list of books that are not endorsed and so children should not use. That is unacceptable. And so I think
the market, Marcos speaks for the company.
It's the book we worked on, and we have decided to take those books off the shelves. When we already worked on and submitted those ones.
But if the book has not been approved yet and you have a pending review to deal with, how did it end up on the shelf?
Before that, we talk of schools and shops that this is a sample, but we are waiting for final approval because we know once it goes out there and have submitted it, which does not include these controversies.
Those portions of the book that has become controversial, how did they end up in the material in the first place?
Taking notice of that, and we have decided to, release a statement apologizing on that particular content. Because we have already worked on and have submitted.
And so far, how many copies of the books are on the market, and how do you intend to deal with them?
The National Council for Curriculum and Assessment, NACA, says it has not approved the books for use in schools. My colleague Joseph.
It makes reference to the 3 books and makes the point that those books have not been approved. And it goes on to say that NACA is firmly on the ground with respect to the fight of the standards-based curriculum for kindergarten and primary schools. A total of 1,007 books and 370 supplementary materials have been assessed and subsequently approved by NACA. The list is our mandate of ensuring that the development and approval of textbooks and supplementary materials and other tertiary
Kujeto Ablakwa says the Education Minister must appear in Parliament and answer questions on this particular issue.
All those statements cannot suffice market. Who slept on the job? It has been several months since these books have been on the market. NACA did it all along. While these books were being sold illegally, who was profiting from the sale? All of these questions will have to be responded to. So these 2 statements is basic 4. Also in issue. They have not issued any statement at all, and they appear to them. It's in circulation. So we need to get to the bottom. Then the entire textbook regime, standards have, where history is being distorted, even the Dagbon people and others, so there are bigger issues with these matters fairly.
That's enough Tong MP Samuel Okujetua Blakwa already the vote. My colleague Kwekwa Sante is on the ground. He'll join us subsequently with more on this. But our top story so far, we can't borrow anymore. We have to share the bed in hardship. Still to come, we have sport, and in our Ghana Man series today, Komfuase, a monument which holds a special place in the hearts of residents in the Western region. And later in the bulletin, big wins for Nigeria's Burna Boy and thanks for staying with us, of course.
The former Black Stars keeper, the general captain of the Black Stars. Well, big things were expected of him when he signed for Legon City. Ford has been explaining Jan's absence.
When it comes to Asamoah Gyan, for me, seen some knocks. We trained, he got some knocks. Now the physio gave him 2 weeks. He came back, he had another problem, and he went back. But now he has started training with us.
Striker Asamoah Gyan, that's your sport.
Thank you very much, Hans. Let me take you to the Volta region now. Hit a 10-year-old boy and a motorcycle rider. Regional correspondent Ivy Setoji reports the two sustained severe injuries after the Opel Irvin driver. Well, correspondent Ivy Setoji joins us on the line with more on this particular incident. Ivy, tell us about this incident and how the two are faring.
Well, the residents of Akati blocked the road since last night at a point for several hours and decided to block the road again. They are asking that cement or building materials is provided for them so they can. This was knocked down yesterday and had all his legs gone bad. So that is what.
Ajidoga, what action did he say they will be taking?
Yeah, so he's saying that for now they want to stick with the residents to give them some time. They want to speak to their coach to come and erect the stadiums.
It's very unfortunate that these things are happening. They are these countries. So being highway, we decided to call the Ghana Highway Authority. They came around and the information we give. Fortunately, this thing happened again. So we are now looking for a temporary measure to get this big rope.
That's the DC for Akachi Leonard Nelson Ajidoga. It's a good time to bring you our Arrive Alive tip for today. Only authority with support from Toyota Ghana, Logistics Movers, and the Joy News Drive Safe campaign. It's time for our Ghana Man series, and today,
situated at the center of Sekunde and Fence, is this gigantic risk. 4 white round band lies at both legs. One leg lifted. It said Komfuase, but is this what it means?
The name Komfuase is a corrupted name, like a fetish priest dancing. And so those of us who don't know anything about Kundum dancing, they're calling the image.
Obna built it for the community to symbolize the Kundum dance, which is part of the Kundum Festival, celebrating 8 years when the momentum was built. He narrates how it was raised.
This place has Kung Fu.
How did its original meaning and symbol become misplaced?
This is a symbol to show the tradition.
For showbiz, and guess who's here? Mapitso Sibili. What a good time to be here after the Grammys, right?
After the Grammys, once again, the African Giant Global Music Album, MFA. Best Global. Skin from The Lion King, the Gifted album. So that song also, Samini are both trending. This is what Stonebwoy started tweeting. As for Ghana, and then Samini responded, Ghana will be okay if we begin to keep it. It'll be like you disrespect Samini. # Year of Truth. Before you give extra fake fans to Nigeria, personally, I cannot do this with you on social media.
Well, I have a perfect message from Mefapo. Have a good afternoon.